Ascente is a Washington journalist and professional writer who's been recognized by the National Press Club 3 years in a row now. Also an American University alum, one of my friends. He joins me now to discuss his new novel called Bootlicker. You've been busy, man, since the last time you joined us here.
Yes, very busy. We launched Bella right around that time, and now it's about 1.5 years later, and Bootlicker has just come out.
And you're also teaching back at our old school.
Yes.
How do you find the time to do all of this?
I don't know, but let me take the opportunity to ask you to come and talk to my students.
Oh my gosh, I don't know what I could tell them other than don't go into journalism. It's the craziest profession.
It's a tough time right now for journalists.
But we all heard that. We all heard that going to school, having internships, and still something drove us to the light.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would be called the light. Turn away from the light.
Turn
but
away from the light,
it's
yes.
something about that. And you had a great career writing right here in Washington.
Yes. My only problem with my career was that I found that over the years, a lot of the things that I was really interested in never made it into the newspaper. The why, the secrets, the stories behind the stories. And so I went back to school in the late 90s, got a master's in fiction from Johns Hopkins, and started writing short stories and then novels.
And from there, the rest is history. You're doing so well, traveling, showing the book off.
Yeah.
You mentioned Bella. Now Bootlicker is, say that a couple times, right, is out. Very cool cover. Tell us about what we can find with this book. How is it different?
Okay, so Bootlicker is a, well, I like to call it a hot election story in a hot election year.
Okay.
Although, you know, maybe the current election is not so interesting, exciting, dramatic.
There's still time.
Yeah, there is. You will not find anything in the current election that's like what's in this book. This is a story about a historic election that takes place in South Carolina and the dark secret that threatens to disrupt the whole thing.
And going back in those days, it's so interesting because we think we know the history. We think we know what happened. And to use, you know, really history in a fictional way, I am always so interested in that.
Yeah. Well, make no mistake, this is fiction. It's not nonfiction. It's a story that I made up. And it ties two characters who you would never suspect of having any link together.
Why did you choose that time period? Why are you so interested in it?
Well, I covered during my actual career, back to fact now, I covered a few Southern politicians who had, you know, that deep, hard segregationist past. And, you know, coming into modern times, it always struck me, how did they keep getting reelected? Once the civil rights movement happened, once blacks came to political power.
There wasn't enough media covering them then. That's probably has to do with it.
So we need more students going into journalism.
You know, it comes full circle,
Full circle, right.
But yeah, you do wonder, you look back in the day and you think, how were they elected over and over? How did people not see what they truly stood for?
Right, so over a 10-year career as Washington correspondent for one of the Southern newspapers, I posed that question to political consultants, campaign strategists, university professors, plain old citizens. I never really got a satisfactory answer, so I made one up and wrote a book.
There you go. If you can't find it, just go and write it, right?
As long as you're out of journalism when you do it.
Now, when you're teaching writing for mass comm, which you said, oh my gosh, that's what I'm teaching now back at the old school. I'm like, oh, I took that, and you said you took that. And what do you bring to these kids now? I mean, how is it to stand in front of a classroom? You know, you went to school there, you were in the same class. How is it to do that?
A lot of things run through my head when you say that, when you ask that. First of all, I don't think the fundamentals have changed. I still think it's important to be able to, you know, stress the unusual, prioritize your facts, get the story out quickly and clearly. Now, what has changed are the tools. And so we have all kinds of social media applications that get things out instantaneously. We have a whole legion of citizen journalists out there with cell phones that take video, and it's just a different world today. So what I try to do is get them prepared to use these tools, but mostly I want you well grounded in the fundamentals before you leave my class.
You have such a responsibility now, sir.
Well,
it's not just being the listener in the class.
There it is.
It's on your shoulders. That's so cool.
Yeah.
The name of the book, once again, is Bootlicker. Go out and get it. I want to mention that you can come see Steve and meet him on Tuesday in Northwest D.C., the Northwest One Library on L Street at 7:30. Tuesday at 7:30 to meet Steve. Thanks for coming on. Good to see you again.
My pleasure. Good to see you again.
All right. Good luck with the book.
Thank you.
Up next, did you know that D.C. has the highest prostate cancer rate right here in the U.S.? We'll be discussing awareness in the annual Prostate Cancer Summit taking place over on the Hill this week. And if you want more, we're on Twitter. We're Let's Talk Live DC. We'll be right back.
You're watching News Channel 8.